The great weakness of international law is that it lacks sovereignty. Nations have sovereignty, and ultimately international law only applies to those nations because they choose to allow it to apply. The Norwegian loans case is a significant example. The International Court of Justice only has jurisdiction over those nations which allow it to have jurisdiction, and that jurisdiction is then limited in whatever way those countries decide. Norway had issued government bonds promising to pay interest in gold. During difficult economic times, including the First World War, Norway passed laws allowing those loans to be paid in Norwegian kroner rather than in gold. French borrowers were unhappy, and the French government sought an order from the International Court of Justice requiring Norway to pay in gold. France had accepted the court's jurisdiction, but had entered a reservation or limitation which said that the court's jurisdiction does not apply to differences relating to matters which are essentially within the national jurisdiction as understood by the government of the French Republic. Norway had also entered a reservation enshrining what is known as the Reciprocity Principle, that any reservations relied on by Norway's opponent in a proceeding should also be available for Norway to rely on. This case became a test of this principle of reciprocity. Norway argued that the question of whether the debt should be paid in gold or kroner was a matter of Norwegian national law. Because the dispute was essentially within the national jurisdiction, the French reservation would stop the International Court of Justice from considering the dispute. So Norway wanted to use the principle of reciprocity to rely on the French reservation, removing the International Court of Justice's jurisdiction in any matter which was a matter of national law. The court found that this was valid and consequently that it lacked jurisdiction. The majority judgment said, "The court considers that the Norwegian government is entitled, by virtue of the condition of reciprocity, to invoke the reservation contained in the French declaration. That this reservation excludes from the jurisdiction of the court the dispute which has been referred to it by the application of the French government. That consequently the court is without jurisdiction to entertain the application." This case confirms the reciprocity principle and confirms that the International Court of Justice has jurisdiction limited to that which is granted to it by each sovereign nation.